Hi, and welcome to Meetings with Math. You're here for 2.2 translations, and we're going to look at how can a figure be translated and still be congruent. You're going to need a pencil for sure today, and a pen will be helpful. Parchment, tracing, or tissue paper, something that you can see through, and your Jaguar dots should say 2.2 at the top. How can a figure be translated and still be congruent? And bring your growth mindset and perseverance and your self-confidence. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, tissue paper, parchment paper. Parchment paper you can find maybe in your parents' kitchen. It's just like this. It's a little bit see-through, and it's going to help us see the translations. We're going to be using this quite a bit in this unit. So something changes one figure to another versus this other thing, which is a specific transformation or a slide. So transformations is what changes. So it encompasses all of them we're going to be talking about in this unit versus this specific one that we're going to talk about today, which is a translation. And a translation is a very specific transformation. So transformation is the big idea. And then we have little kinds of transformations. And one of them today is a translation. And it's like a slide. So to the left, to the left, to the right, like the cha-cha slide. That's what we're going to do. So the new figure is called an image. So when you're asked to do an image, we're just asking you to make the new figure. So let's look at two figures. So we're asking, is the right figure a translation of the left figure? In other words, did I slide it to get it from one to the other? Every one of these are congruent. So we're not asking, is it congruent? We're asking, did I slide it to get it from one to the other? So if I look at A, did I slide it to go from this one to this one? Yes, I did. So yes, this is a slide. Now let's look at this one. They are definitely congruent. But did I slide to go from here to there? If I slid it, it would still be pointing down. Is this the right-hand side pointing down? Nope. So this is not a translation. Can you think of what happened? If I put my right here, doesn't it look like I flipped it over or it's a mirror image? So we'll be talking about what those are later, but this is not a translation. So here we have our figure, and it says translate the triangle 2 units right and 5 units up. Then write the coordinate of the image. So this is why having a pencil is helpful today. So we're going to take our paper. We're not going to center it. We're going to just come off to the side. And the first thing you want to do is you want to put the center on it. It helps when we go to do the other one. So we're just going to get into that practice right now. And then you want to trace it and put nice big dots, A, B, and C. And so you can see now when I lift it up, I have my image. So now I can take this image anywhere I want, and it's still going to be congruent. But we're going to follow the directions that it says. So it says to move it 2 units right and 5 units up. So I'm going to go 2 units right, and I'm going to use this right here to help me. So move it 2 units right. So there's 1, and there's 2, and then 5 units up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that there is my new image. So depending on the kind of paper you're using, there's different ways that we can do this. You might have to just do this, where you're going back and forth. But if you're on parchment paper like I am, you can actually turn this into tracing paper. That's your hint of what's going to happen. So I colored on the back side of it. So we went 2 units right, 1, 2, and then 5 units up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to make sure I'm perfectly centered on that. And then I'm going to color over my dots again and watch what happens. Do you see how I put them very faintly right there? What it did was it transferred the graphite. If I don't have that, that's perfectly okay. You're just going to hold this right here with your non-dominant hand. And then with your dominant hand, you're going to hold that right there and then lift and then dot. And then lift and then dot. So now when I write this, I'm not going to write A, I'm going to write A prime. I'm going to write B prime, and I'm going to write C prime. And then I'm going to take a ruler. I forgot to tell you to get a ruler out. So take a ruler, or actually I should say a straight edge. A straight edge can be anything that's straight. And then you're going to connect your dots. So this is how we can check and make sure we're in the right places. 2 units right and 5 units up. I can check each point individually. I can go 2 units right for my original, 1, 2, and then 5 units up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I could actually, instead of using the tracing paper, I could have actually placed each one of my points individually. Over 2, 1, 2, and 5 units up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over 2, 1, 2, and 5 units up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's some different ways that we can do these problems. And it gets a little bit confusing because we do have different ways, but this is a nice tool to have so that we can check our work quickly. So once I have this, go 2 and up 5, and yes, I put it in the right place. But we're not done with this. We need to write the coordinates of the image. So now we have A prime, that's at 0, 5. B prime is at this, so it's over 2 and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There. And then we have C prime, which is over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do this one completely without the tracing paper. So make sure you have your straight edge, and let's go ahead and do this. But this time we're going to do it without the tracing paper. We need to do 3 units down and 5 units left. So from A, we're going to do 3 units down, 1, 2, 3, and 5 units left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is A prime. And we have to write the coordinates, so I'm just going to start writing them now. So this is the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm actually going to put that in there. So -6, -2. This one says down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you put your B prime. Don't forget those letters. And it's prime. So the new image will have a prime. That's what that little slash means. You probably should write down somewhere that that's read B prime. So B prime is the point -5, 2. And then C prime, or C is going to be down 3, 1, 2, 3, and 5 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's C prime. And so that is the point -2, 0. And now with my ruler or my straight edge, I'm not going to freehand this. Let's write down the original coordinates for A, B, and C. A was -1, 1. B was 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And C was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to say, what if I don't have a graph? How can I go straight from here to here? So let's talk about that right now. If I'm on the x-axis and I move to the right, we know that that's adding because that's like on a number line. And if I move to the left, that is subtracting. If I'm on the y-axis, if I move up, that's adding. And if I move down, that is subtracting. We're going to keep that in mind when we do this next one. A rectangle has coordinates A, B, C, and D. Without graphing, translate the rectangle 3 units left and 4 units up. So if I stop and just think about this for a second, let's make a mini coordinate plane. If I'm going to move to the left, is that adding or subtracting? That would be subtracting. How much am I subtracting? I'm subtracting 3 units. 3 units left means I'm subtracting 3. And if I am going 4 units up, means I would be adding. How much am I adding? I am adding 4. So right there, we have an equation started for us on how to find these without graphing. So for A, here's our coordinate, 1, 4. If I just did substitution, I would have this problem ready to go. A prime Instead of x, it's going to be 1 minus 3. And y is going to be 4 from here, plus, and then this 4. So a prime is 1 minus 3 is negative 2, and 4 minus 4 is 8. So b prime is going to be 3 from here, minus this 3, and 4 plus this 4. So we end up with b prime is 3 minus 3 is 0, and 4 plus 4 is 8. C prime is going to be this 3 minus 3, and then this 1 right here, plus the 4. 3 minus 3 is 0, and 1 plus 4 is 5. And then we have d prime is going to be this 1 minus this 3, and this 1 plus this 4. So d prime, 1 minus 3 is a negative 2, and 1 plus 4 is 5. And so now we did translations without even using the graph. What we did was we used this as an equation and did substitution. So there you have it. We did translations by moving the figure around the coordinate system by using adding and subtracting on our coordinate plane. What I'd like you to do is write down 2 important things that you learned today on translations. Write them down and be ready to talk about them in class. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, do something kind for somebody because we can always use some extra kindness in our lives. And I will talk with you again real soon. Bye now.